See, trouble makes you think. You don't think when things are going right. It's when you run into a wall, and then you think you got away from that wall, and the chimney falls on you. And after the chimney falls on you, the doctor turn around and make a mistake and sew your foot where your head ought to be. When you get in that kind of shape, you start thinking. Say, man, how did I get in this condition? And when you start thinking, when you think, you weigh this against that. You weigh what you were against what you are. You weigh what you had against what you have. You weigh who you are against what you were. And then you say, Father, I have sinned. You got to be sober, black man.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Put the crack down.
Put it down.
Put the pipe down. Put the bottle down. Pick up some knowledge that make you understand who you are.
Yeah.
When you know who you are, you don't want to defile yourself with some jive crap. When you know who you are, black man, you want to rise up and be yourself. You got a family depending on you. You got a nation depending on you. You got a woman that wants to depend on you.
That's right, that's right.
See, most of you, in reality, have never chosen God's standard to live by. You go to church and sing in the choir. You understand? And that gives you your closeness to divinity. Or you go to the mosque, or masjid, or the synagogue, or the cathedral, and you pay a little money, but you don't accept God's standard of human behavior as your own, even to attempt to live by God's law. You understand what I'm saying? So the truck driver, he's a truck driver. He ain't thinking about God's standard unless he's a true servant of God. You that work where you work on the job, how often do you go to that job thinking about God's correct standard of behavior in your personal life, in your bedroom, in your every walk of life? How often do you think, what is God's standard judging this act? Talk back to me. You ain't got God on your mind at all. When you finger popping in the disco, what standard is that? Whose standard is that when you do the Cabbage Patch? Now, what? When you break down into the snake and get funky, what standard are you living by? Injustice can make a person insane. And when a person feels that nobody is listening to them, they have no court for the redress of their grievance, then they decide to take matters into their own hand. And justice, which is symbolized by a scale, a woman blindfolded holding a scale. When that scale is tipped, the weight of truth hidden and punishment overriding the facts and the truth, then you've imbalanced a human being. And when the human being is imbalanced, they can do terrible, terrible things. And there is a price to pay on both sides. Defend your people. Defend them. With all the truth that you know, defend your people. Even in their apparent wrong, I say, defend your people. Never take the white man's side. Never take the white man's side against your people. Never take his side. Even if it appears that our brother is wrong, don't take the side of the enemy. You see one of your brothers switching down the street, and some white man says, "Look at that sissy." Don't you say, "Yeah, look at that sissy." You say, probably if he hadn't met your fathers, he wouldn't do that way. If they say, "Look at that nigger snatching pocketbooks," say, "Yeah, maybe if he had the right kind of education and a job opportunity, he wouldn't have to snatch no pocketbook." Mr. Koch said, "I should burn in hell." Say, "Dear Mr. Koch, black people in New York City live in hell. And if black people in New York City live in hell and you are the keeper of hell, then you must be the real devil himself." In the 37th chapter of Ezekiel, there were some dry bones that were in a valley. And the bones were talking to one another. They were having a conversation about a contract. And as they were having this contract, some of the bones said, "Our hope is lost. Our bones are dried. We are cut off from our pot." There's some that are watching by television and some in this audience that think that we will never come together, that we will never make the right covenant or contract. I say to you, go back and read your scripture. Because when the Son of Man was set down in that valley that was full of bones, he spoke to those bones, and the bones shook and the bones rattled, but they never stood up. So he went back to his sender and he said, "Lord, I have spoken to the bones, and nobody has spoken to the bones like black leaders and black preachers. Nobody speaks to the bones like a Reverend Jackson or a T.D. Jakes or Bishop Long or Bishop Patterson or Cornel West, and those of us that preach, Reverend Sharpton. The bones always listen. The bones shake. The bones rattle, but they never get up, and they never do what they're supposed to do. So one generation dies and another generation is born, and we continue to run the same game. So the Son of Man went back to his sin and said, "I've been talking. The bones been shaken, but there's still no life in them." He said, "Well, don't talk to the bones no more. Prophesy to the winds, and let the winds blow on these bones." See, Bush is a wind. Your rejection at the table is a wind. My brother's going to dinner in the White House and can't come away with what is in the best interest of all our people. Jesse running twice, but still couldn't come away with what our people need. All of this is a farce. If we don't make up our minds today to make this contract, this covenant today, not with us and the Democratic Party. To hell with the Democrats and to hell with the Republicans. If they want our vote, let's come as a unified body. Let's gather, Tavis, the scholars. We got them in theology to plan the moral and spiritual development of a people. Bishop Long is not the pastor of this church alone. T.D. Jakes is not the pastor of his church alone. Reverend Jackson and Reverend Sharpton and Reverend Lowry are not the pastors of their constituencies alone. These are the shepherds of an entire people. So what we shepherds, listen, what we shepherds have got to do is come in a room, to hell with the camera. Turn the camera off, put the Bible on the table. That book will transform human life if you teach it right. Stop entertaining your people with religion and start teaching your people, and they will respond and they will be a better people. Listen. Let's gather our educators and sit in a room and plan the educational development of our people beyond the contrived education of the Western educational system. And you've turned the so-called birthday of Jesus Christ into a commercial feast of foolishness. Santa Claus has knocked Jesus out of the top spot. And the merchants who don't even believe in Jesus are busy selling you foolishness, making themselves rich and you poor for another year on the basis of a lie. And that's why they call it Xmas. Because you don't know who it is that you are worshiping. Where did you get this Christmas tree from? What does that have to do with Jesus Christ? And in all your churches, you have this big tree. Look at what Jeremiah the prophet says. It warns you not to follow the way of the heathens. For the heathens go in the forest and they cut down a tree. And they fasten it down and they deck it with silver and gold. Ain't that what you do? And when you try to tell the Christian that this is a heathen practice, they say, well, I don't care. My father did it, my mother did it, I'm gonna still do it. And you paying $10, $20, $30 for a tree. And then the tree dries up and burn you up in the house with your foolish self. Con Edison can't wait till Christmas comes to con you out of some more money with your lights burning. Who made up this lie and forced it on the church? Man got married the other day, took his wife home, honeymoon night. Look out now. Look out there. She pulled her hair off and put it in the drawer. Pulled her teeth out and put it in the drawer. She had faults. Put it in the drawer. Took off her leg and put it in the drawer. The man didn't know whether to get into bed or get in the drawer. You follow that pale horse, you have false everything. You want eyelashes? Go put them on. Want a big backside? Bootylicious, baby. Shoot it up. You want bigger lips? We got that too. I didn't mean for this to turn into a comedy hour. America's about to go to war. And when she goes to war, she wants black and brown bodies. Now you're useful. They don't give a doggone about how black lives matter until they want to use black lives to accomplish their wicked ends. Some of you are so low down and dirty, you don't want to hear nothing good about one another. Whatever dirt you want to hear on somebody, tell me about that. So you become a slanderer, a defamer, a gossiper. You don't know whether what you're saying is the truth or a lie, but what the hell, is funky and I like it, I'm going to tell it anyway. Except when somebody find out some crap about you. Now you want everybody to keep that quiet. But in this world, you reap what you sow. And if that's the way you do one another, your turn is coming up. See how you like it.